It's Thursday morning, and it's now time for Treasure Coast native attorney Travis Walker and Legal Off the Cuff from Travis Walker Law in Stewart. The opinions expressed are those of the show's host, not WSTU or Travis Walker Law. Now it's time for Legal Off the Cuff, definitely not your father's legal show, and here's Travis Walker.
Good morning. This is attorney Travis Walker. Hope everything is well with all of you listeners. It's been great to talk with you with Legal Off the Cuff. It is an opportunity to talk about all the different legal issues that our law firm, the law offices of Travis R. Walker, handles, and kind of dig into some of the news and stuff that's going on with regards to legal issues out there in the country. I am Travis Walker with the law offices of Travis R. Walker. Our phone number is 772-708-0952. Again, that's 772-708-0952. If you do have any questions while we're on the air today, the number here at the radio station is 220-WSTU. That's 220-9788. Happy to chat with you with regards to any questions you may have. If you do want to take them offline, you can always reference the radio show to our intake team at the office here in Stewart. We'll give you a free consultation. It's a $185 value just for mentioning the radio show, so that obviously we know where you're coming from, and make sure that you're taken care of and know your legal options with regards to what we handle. So we obviously handle divorce, real estate, probate, estate planning. We have an accident attorney. We do business litigation, real estate litigation. We have 8 attorneys in there focusing on those issues. So happy to help you out. Please give us a call or visit us at traviswalkerlaw.com. We're located here in Stewart. We have an office in West Palm Beach as well. Just in case you're from that area, happy to have some consultations to make sure we take good care of you. So thank you so much for taking the time to listen to us. Some of the things we talk about in the news are obviously involving divorce. It's a big part of our practice here at the law offices of Travis R. Walker. It looks as though Tom Brady with the Buccaneers is on his way to a divorce. It looks like his supermodel wife is not having the extra season or something. A recent update on the alleged marital issues between Tampa Bay Buccaneers star quarterback Tom Brady and wife Gisele Bündchen. I don't know if I can ever say her last name right. That the two are staying in separate homes in Miami as they evacuated Tampa before Hurricane Ian made landfall in Florida last week. There's more news on the situation less than 48 hours after the Buccaneers fell to 2-2. According to Sarah Nathan and Emily Smith on page 6, multiple sources say that Brady and Gisele have hired divorce attorneys amid ongoing rumors stating that Bündchen remains unhappy. Brady ended his winter retirement to play at least one more season in the NFL.
Wow.
So, the guy wants to play. He wants to play. Can't sit on the bench. I think he announced his retirement, right? And then he's like, "Yeah, I can't do this." And then, to the extreme where it's causing him marital problems.
I saw today in my morning show prep that he's looking for alimony.
He's looking for alimony.
He's looking for alimony.
It can happen.
Really?
Yes, absolutely.
Come on.
Yeah. No, I mean, whether
how many millions does he make a year?
I guess that's the question: is how many millions is she making a year or something?
What does she do?
I guess wasn't she
she's a model or something
Secret
like
model?
I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean so if he's looking for alimony, so that's funny.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. But I was just reading.
I read it this morning in my show prep. Yeah, he's looking for alimony.
So, and that's a Florida divorce. So yeah, I mean, it's on the table. It doesn't matter if you're a husband or wife, whoever.
Could you imagine what the child support's going to be like?
Oh, the child support's going to be
ridiculous.
It's going to be ridiculous.
Wow. 6 figures easily. It's got to be
easy. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, I've been doing a divorce and family law work for 15 years, and some guys come in here and they're freaking out about their child support payments and stuff, and it is a good portion of their life, and you got to protect them from overpaying child support. But some of them are paying $500,000, a few $1,000s a month, maybe in child support. What would Tom Brady or Gisele be paying to the other one? It's got to be crazy.
I'd like to know. Could you imagine if you got that case and you were the divorce attorney for Tom Brady?
Hey, that would be wild. I mean, maybe I'll trade some season tickets.
You can retire after that.
It'd be great. I mean, it would definitely be wild, and it would be an opportunity to really figure out, some of the NFL pensions and everything else like that, because that's a big part of the divorce is making sure you do that. But yeah, I just can't. I guess he's just not folding. I'm not going to throw away my season just because you want to divorce me.
No, it's all about the money right now.
Yeah. I don't care how long we've been married, and they were married a while, if I recall.
Yeah.
You remember how long?
We could Google it and find out real quick how long Tom Brady's been married for.
Yeah, no kidding. And I mean, I bet you it's having a real impact on his. How can that not impact your psychology when you're on the field? Except for that guy, Tom Brady. I mean, gosh, if there's anybody who can, really focus in and make sure that you're on point when you need to be. They don't call him the GOAT for no reason. I mean, the guy's got some serious ability to focus. So, maybe he's able to get past it or whatever, but I can't imagine that because they got multiple kids together too. So yeah, he's got, child support, he's got alimony, they got homes. So there's equitable distribution issues.
13 years.
13 years. Wow.
13 years and 3 kids.
Jeez.
Yeah. They met on a blind date in 2006.
Oh my gosh.
They hit it off immediately and the relationship started to get serious. But it got complicated when Brady found out his ex-girlfriend was pregnant, Bridget.
Oh, yeah. And so he's got the other one on the side. I'm sure.
Yeah.
One day we could find out what his child support payment to her is.
Yeah.
But yeah. So 3 kids, houses. 13-year marriage, which means it's like a middle term marriage right now.
Yeah. Super Bowl rings.
All that
stuff on the line.
Yeah. All the assets.
Wow.
He's gonna have to fill out a financial affidavit with the Super Bowl rings on it. That's gonna be pretty crazy,
man.
And those things aren't cheap.
No, not at all.
So I'm interested to see how this one plays out. I mean, it's like, they talked at the beginning of the season that there was going to be an issue, and it just continues to snowball. I guess, she's just pissed. So
yeah, inquiring minds want to know.
I'll have to look it up. Yeah. The funny thing is with some of these high net worth divorces, like they'll actually go and file in a county in Florida where nobody thinks, like, nobody will be looking or something.
Right.
So like rural Hendry County or Glades County or something, they'll go file there because like nobody will go to look for it, and then the digital records aren't the same, right? Because they probably get like a divorce filing once a week or once every 2 weeks or something like that. So they don't have all the digital back scanning. So there's a good possibility. Like, well, I think that's exactly what Tiger Woods did. Someone told me that, and I haven't looked, but Tiger Woods maybe filed up in like the Panama City area or something instead of filing in Palm Beach where it would be all the hoopla.
Yeah.
That'd be insane.
That's crazy. I think I'll get divorced in Hendry County, go out to the sweetest town in America in Clewiston.
Yes, make it, and cheers at the local diner or something.
Yeah, right. Exactly, or the local whatever you want to call it, the bar, whatever it is.
I represent some of the clerks out there. There are lots of good people out there, but it's slow. But like nobody's gonna pick up.
That's a very quiet town out that way.
It is
very quiet. I passed through, driven through it. I actually worked out there in radio.
Really?
Yeah, there's a radio station out in Belle Glade I worked at.
Oh my gosh.
It's just very quiet, very laid back.
Yeah. Like just like a lot of sugar workers.
People, a lot of sugar workers. People don't have a care in the world out there.
Really?
Honestly, that's how laid back it is.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's like what, 20, 30 miles away the crow flies or something from here.
So. It's a good distance out west.
Yeah.
You got to take Southern Boulevard all the way out west across 20 Mile Bend. Then when you get to the end, you make a left.
Yeah.
And then it just drives you through Belle Glade and South Bay, go along the lake, and you go another 20 miles, and there you are in Clewiston.
Wow.
And as soon as you get into Clewiston, on the left-hand side, there's a Sonny's Barbecue that greets you.
Classic, right?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We obviously we represent people out in Indiantown and Belle Glade, and happy to represent people in divorces or family law issues, even if you are out in the rural areas. Even in other counties now with Zoom and everything, we actually represent people across the state of Florida. So if you or a loved one are dealing with divorce or accident or probate, estate planning type of issues, guardianships, we've been getting a lot of calls about elder abuse recently, people taking advantage of seniors, whether it's through a power of attorney or not allowing access to dad. And then there's a lot of questions about how things are going on. If that, you have questions about that, feel free to give us a call at the office, 772-708-0952, or visit us at traviswalkerlaw.com. Again, happy to do free consultations for you. If you mention this radio show and want to make sure that you're taken care of and at least feel like you got some certainty with regards to your options. So happy to do so. And Tom Brady isn't the only one who is dealing with a divorce. Apparently, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's I guess she's a representative up in the Georgia area. Her husband filed for divorce after 27 years of marriage. So it's it's not a uncommon thing, and I think there's a lot of times I deal with people who are it's their first time going through a divorce or something, and you're not alone in dealing with divorces. There's a lot of people out there who've whether they're celebrities or not. This couple was married in August of 1995 and raised their 3 children who are now adults. Eventually, I guess originally a petition to seal the proceeding was also filed, citing confidential and sensitive information which may come out during the course of divorce. The petitioner argues that the parties' significant privacy interest in sealing records outweighs the public's minuscule interest in access to said records. And so that was actually apparently what she filed, because I think apparently he's wanting it to be public. So there,
He wants to air his dirty laundry.
He wants to air. I guess like he's so pissed, he wants to leverage the dirty laundry.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Wow. I'm sorry, but I don't want my dirty laundry out there. To you?
No. We were just talking about maybe Tiger Woods like files in Panama City or something, because he doesn't want his dirty laundry out there.
Yeah.
He wants to apparently leverage this against her, which is unfortunate to really do so. But
maybe he's got some goods against her.
Yeah.
Ooh.
He's probably wanting the alimony from her, just like Tom Brady is.
It's a good one.
And then there's always, when I had recently I had a guy come in or whatever, and it's like, oh, Florida's like against the dad and everything, and that's not really it at all.
No.
Maybe 50, 60 years ago there was obviously a cultural different culture here, an older school conservative nature, where you had one breadwinner, usually was dad, and so like there really was a shift in the case law and the statutes towards dad being the one who pays, and dad doesn't get the time sharing and everything. But really in all reality now, it's dads have the good share. I mean, you have to go fight for it. You can't just sit there and lay back and think the judge is going to give it to you, especially if the other side is going to paint you as some horrible person and everything, because in the end it's in the best interest of the child. So if they say that the best interest of the child is not with you because you got all kinds of abuse issues and everything, you're going to be in a bad spot. So, and unfortunately, and it's a terrible way to look at it, but it's exactly what happens in these divorce cases, these paternity cases, is that these people are set against each other, trying to say I'm the better person and therefore I'm the one who should get the majority of the time sharing.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's a sad
the way
thing.
Things work.
Yeah, I agree. No, there's plenty of people across this, and it's funny because last week with the storm, really there wasn't a lot of divorce filings and paternity filings, but then yesterday I turned around.
I'm surprised. you would think people are, well, then again, I'm surprised too, because I mean, look how long COVID lasted for. People were like at each other's throats for being locked up for so long.
Yes.
So yeah, the hurricane and I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think you're
weird.
You're
it's like a trend.
Well, and like I think there was a thought process also that like there was going to be a lot of babies born because of COVID, but I think people were like so freaked out about COVID that actually maybe created a downturn in the births and everything, because they're like, what happens if so and so dies, or what happens if like I lose my job or whatever else. Like, I don't know if they were just freaked out or whatever, but my understanding is that there's actually been like a downturn in the births. That being said, I think there was a downturn. There was a downturn in the divorce filings last week, but yesterday we had a huge uptick in divorce filings.
Really?
Because I think they were spending time together with the storm. Then they went and figured out this is not going to work.
Really?
And so now they filed.
They didn't want to weather the storm no more. No pun intended.
No, they didn't want to weather the storm. They're tired of weathering the marital storm. They weathered Ian, the hurricane storm, but they didn't.
Where do you get the stats from where there's an uptick in divorce?
You're monitoring the clerk's offices and everything.
Oh, so you see it in the filings.
Exactly.
Okay.
So because if you file for divorce, or you file for just about anything with very few exceptions with the clerk of the court, if you open a lawsuit, that's all public record.
Right.
So all your dirty laundry is out there, and that's what I guess the husband or Marjorie Green was trying to do.
Wow.
So So like yesterday, boom, like everybody was kind of
no kidding.
They figured it
out. I'm glad I'm not a statistic. I'm happy.
We'll make sure. I will definitely. God forbid ever have to see your name. I'll definitely give you a heads up.
No. I'm good. I'm not. I got my wedding anniversary coming up Monday.
Oh, congrats,
20.
Man.
God, I better get this right. I was 1999, 09, 1920. 23 years.
She's not listening, right?
Yeah, she is.
Okay.
She
got this right.
She listens all the time.
You got it nailed, right?
23. Yeah, 23 years married, been together 25
Congratulations,
years.
man. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, this is the number 3. Third time's a charm.
Good job.
And it's been a charm.
It's been a charm.
It's been a charm.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, at 23 years, that's a good testament to it.
I'm happy.
Yeah, no, I mean,
she puts up with me.
Yeah, I mean, and I get divorces for like people who've been married for like 3 or 4 months. It's like, did your honeymoon not even end yet or something?
Yeah.
Did you go on it?
That was the first one.
Oh,
I was devastated.
She
Yeah.
pulled the plug on you?
We'll talk about that off the air.
Okay,
We'll talk
sorry.
about
I'm
off the
sorry
air
to
what
air your.
happened.
We're just talking about dirty laundry,
That's
and
all
here I
right.
am asking for you
I
to
know,
put it
right?
out there. I'm sorry,
What is
man.
it, TMZ?
I know, right? Page 6, TMZ, whatever else.
That's why it's off the cuff.
It's totally off the cuff,
Yeah.
so it's crazy. And
Yeah.
if you do have any divorce or child support questions, again, give us a call at the law offices of Travis R. Walker, www.traviswalkerlaw.com, or call us at 772-708-0952. The sad thing is that even if you go through a divorce, or you have kids with somebody, you get everything worked out, on the other side, you're still fighting over some things sometimes. And this, Angelina Jolie slams Brad Pitt, alone is not child support. Alone is not, however, child support, and represented as such as misleading and inaccurate, Angelina Jolie's lawyer said of the loan Brad Pitt gave to the actress. So I guess he's trying to say, the loan I gave you was really, a child support payment. She's saying that it's not. And, they were married, and then now they're back in court. So, I mean, if, unfortunately, people just can't seem to get things worked out. In this instance, Jolie indicated in a court filing Tuesday that Pitt has not been paying meaningful child support during their separation. The actor responded with his own filing, stating that he had paid over $1.3 million to provide for the actress and their 6 children, as well as a loan of $8 million to help her purchase her current home. So
wait a minute. He gave her a loan of $8,000 when they were $8 million.
$8 million
when they were split up already.
Yeah.
What is he thinking?
I don't know. That's a great question. Why would you do that?
Why would you loan somebody $8 million if you're getting divorced from them? Are you so much in love with that person?
And you're hoping that $8 million will buy her back?
Yeah. Money can't buy love.
Money cannot buy love. There's no way at all. And they totally were asked to assist in the expense of a new home for Angelina and their 6 children, but instead he loaned Angelina money for which he is charging her interest on a payment plan.
Interest.
Yeah. What the heck?
Interest.
Oh
What's the interest rate?
Does it say? I don't know, but I guess
2.75.
Just crazy. $1.3 million to provide for the actress and their 6 children. So
wow.
I mean, these celebrities, they get, it's all relative, right? Some guys who are making 20, 30 grand a year, I mean, they got to pay 130 or $1,300 a month or something in child support. It's it's all the same. That's crazy.
I need to talk to his agent.
I know, right? Well, his agent's probably like, what the hell are you doing with your money, loaning her money like that? Did you get a promissory note? Did you get a contract? I mean, what are you, $8 million to go buy a house? Do
you need an $8 million home? Is it that bad?
I mean, but if he loaned her $8 million,
I'm fine in my $200,000 home.
I know, make it work or something. I mean, you got 6 children. Okay, maybe you need a 4-bedroom if you got 6 kids, but come on, you're pushing it, right?
Man, that's just that's unreal, unheard of.
It's different level of money, and I guess it's just insane that the numbers that they're working with and everything. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what to do with that guy. I wouldn't know what to do with him. I was his agent. It's like, hey, what's wrong with you? But it just goes to show you, just because you get through a divorce, just because you go through a paternity action or whatever, and then your ex isn't cooperating the way you want to, you still got stuff on the other side you got to deal with. So it's crazy.
You came prepared with a lot of notes today. I'm noticing you're rifling through stuff.
Yeah, you
got a lot of good stuff there.
Well, I was trying to do my research and everything, because definitely want to make sure that we're talking about things that are up in the news, things that are important to the listeners, ways to kind of relate to maybe issues that they're dealing with, or perhaps.
Have you had any good cases over the last couple of weeks? Because I know you've been out and we've been doing a rerun, and now we're live.
Yeah, it's nice to be live again.
Yes, we're live.
Oh yeah, it's nice to be live.
So over the last couple of weeks, I know you've had some good stuff come through.
Yeah, we've had a number of divorces come through. We got a number of probates that are coming through.
Okay.
Dealing with some civil litigation, some business litigation cases. People are fighting over non-competes and non-disclosure agreements and that type of thing. We also have, we've gotten some good accident cases that have been great.
Yeah.
Making sure that, people are compensated for their injuries. And, obviously we do the accidents, but we do the slip and falls and everything in between that you normally see with an accident attorney. And we, those are done on a contingency fee basis so that, we don't get paid unless we recover for you. So it's a great way to make sure that things are doing well and you're getting the compensation you deserve. But we'll be right back with a quick break and we'll be on more with Legal Off the Cuff. All right, this is Travis Walker again with the Law Offices of Travis R. Walker. We are back here to talk about legal off the cuff, different legal issues going on in the world, in our office that really help to give you some clarity and guidance with regards to issues you or a loved one may be dealing with regards to legal issues out there. I am Travis Walker with the Law Offices of Travis R. Walker. Phone number is 772-708-0952. Again, that's 772-708-0952. Here at the radio station, if you do have a question, obviously it's 220-WSTU, 220-9788. If you have any questions, we do practice in the areas of probate, real estate, estate planning, accident law, and divorce. And so it's crazy because it must be divorce season or something, because Jeff Bezos's ex Mackenzie Scott files for divorce from second husband Dan Jewett. So she got a big payout from Amazon's Jeff Bezos when they got divorced, and it was a big news because she went and tied the knot with a guy, I think he was like a teacher or something. But basically, she was named the fourth richest person in the world by Forbes in April, with her net worth reported at 43.6 billion at the time. She reportedly met her soon-to-be ex through a Seattle school that her four children attended, where he worked as a science teacher. So, wow, it's that was she had 25 years of marriage with Jeff Bezos. They share their four children, but she got remarried. It was nearly 4 months later that in April 2019 that Bezos and Scott took to Twitter to announce that they had finalized their divorce. And just one day later, Sanchez and then husband filed papers to officially end their marriage. So, I guess, Jeff's still got his girlfriend and everything, married to her, but I guess his ex is now already divorcing her science teacher. So it's a wild, crazy world out there. There's, like I said, there's a lot of it's all relative. People are dealing with divorces, and it can be a scary thing. But obviously, she's probably looking at a much bigger payout than an average person would be, with a net worth of 43.6 billion to this science teacher. Who knows if they had a prenup or a postnup. Those are ways to obviously protect yourself if you're getting into a marriage, or somebody that is. And we handle prenups and postnups, and actually that's probably one of the things recently we've been dealing with a lot, because I think we've got a lot of people who are confronting the issue of marriage. And sometimes, especially with a lot of pressure from family, you want to make sure you protect those assets that the family has worked so hard to protect. And then you got someone who's coming into the family, and they're potentially going to take a big hit and take a big piece of that. So we do handle prenuptial agreements, postnuptial agreements. Those are agreements that are actually after the marriage, and they do have an effective law. It's basically a contract as well, so that you can, make sure that assets are protected, and you have some certainty with regards to how the divorce goes. Make it cleaner and easier how the divorce goes, because I've represented people for 2-3 years in divorces. It's just crazy sometimes how long they can last, and it's a good to plan that out ahead of time, so that you're not having to worry about how the divorce may go, or what the child support may be, or how the assets are going to be divided. So happy to chat with anybody if they have any questions about that. So
When you're talking about divorce, I know there's two types of divorces, with kids and without kids. Obviously, the one without kids is much more simple than with kids, obviously.
correct. Yeah.
Correct.
Correct. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. So I mean, and we that's really the way we divide it. I think is exactly how you talk about it. Is like,
Mhm.
the primary divide is, is this a divorce with children or without children?
Mhm.
Because with the children, you got, time sharing and parenting plans and child support and all the issues that come with kids. If you don't have that, then that whole piece is off the table.
Right. What happens in the case where you have a father that has custody of the kids?
Mm-hmm.
Not talking about me or nothing. I'm
Sure.
just thinking off the cuff. No
Yes.
pun
Off the cuff.
intended.
Hypothetical. Off the cuff.
Off the cuff.
Yes.
You get a dad's got custody of the kids.
Yes.
And then he marries, and the mom becomes an instant bonus mom,
Okay.
stepmom, whatever you want to call her.
Yes.
And a couple of years down the road, it doesn't work out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She wants child support because she's gonna
the new mom. The new
new
mom.
mom.
So she's not.
How does that work?
Is she the biological mom? Or?
Not the biological mom.
Yeah.
But she wants to the dad doesn't have the time to raise the kids and wants to let her raise the kids.
I gotcha. And then
how
they
does it? Yeah, they split up.
Yeah.
And the kids go to live with the stepmom, who's not the biological mom.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, like, because for all intents and purposes, from the legal aspect, like, stepmom really is kind of almost a stranger to the kids.
Right.
So if she takes that on, she's, putting herself into a position where she's probably not automatically going to be entitled to child support. But
Right.
if she were to petition the court, so like, say for instance, she petitions the court for custody because the kids want to be with her and she wants to be, she's been taking care of the kids and everything else like that. She
Right.
could theoretically petition a court for custody, especially if dad's like out to lunch, if he's got drug or alcohol issues
Right.
and stuff like that. She can petition the court for custody, and then the court would award her child support.
Could she adopt the kids?
She could adopt the kids, but like, again, you're going to get into a position where like because the state of Florida is a constitutional right to be a parent, basically.
Okay.
So it's a big hurdle to go and like terminate some of these parental rights, but it can be done. So like, if you want to adopt somebody, you have to terminate someone's parental rights. If they're willing to do so and someone else is willing to step in, then that's not a big problem.
No, I'm not talking about the dad is not going to be in the picture anymore.
Right.
The dad's going to be in the picture. The mom is, let's just say hypothetically, the birth mother's incarcerated for a long time.
Gotcha.
So can the mom adopt the kids?
No, I mean, I absent like, unless dad would have to basically terminate his parental rights.
The dad would.
Yeah, because unless dad's like, completely like, unless dad's like abandoning the children, he's done all these different things. But if they're splitting, if dad and stepmom are splitting up, and then stepmom wants to have custody and child support or whatever, wants to adopt the kids, she's got to show something pretty strong to show that dad,
even if it's amicably.
It could be done amicably, but the overreaching like public policy issue is like, so so someone needs to step in as a parent. So like, if stepmom was remarrying and then they wanted to, the new dad also wanted to adopt the kids, then that would be fine. Because what and this is the saddest thing, is that a lot of guys get women pregnant or whatever, and then they're like, I don't want to pay child support, I'll terminate my parental rights. And then it's like, okay, you're going to terminate your parental rights because you don't want to pay child support, you don't want to be in the kid's life. And then mom is left like holding the bag, and then the state of Florida eventually is left holding the bag because she goes and applies for benefits and everything else like that.
Right.
Which is why, like, if you do apply for, if someone applies for SNAP benefits or food stamps or whatever else, the state of Florida is going to come after and trying to find dad to go pay for the child support, because otherwise, the government is. So, that being said, a long way of saying that if dad, in order for you to adopt someone, the court is often looking for someone to like make sure that the kid's being taken care of.
Okay.
So like, if you're going to terminate one person's rights, you need to like make sure you kind of have somebody to step in and do it as well.
Wow. Okay. Good stuff.
That's what we're
Ooh,
here for.
that's a web right there.
Yeah, no, it is a web, and it goes back to the best interest of the child and everything. So you really want to make sure that that the kids are being protected and taken care of, at least from the state of Florida's
Yeah.
perspective. Which again is why I also have people who's like, I don't, we've agreed not to pay child support to each other. Well, that's nice and everything, but like we're going to have to play with this a little bit because when it comes down to it, the state of Florida or the judges directed by the state of Florida, they want to make sure that the kids are being taken care of. So
Right.
like you can't just necessarily say, I don't want to pay child support, or I'd rather not the other side pay child support or something like that if they're petitioning for child support. So it's all good questions.
Okay.
It's
Good
crazy.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
No, yeah. So I mean, adoption's a big issue, and we handle a good bit of adoptions at the law offices of Travis R. Walker. If you have an adoption question, don't hesitate to give us a call at 772-708-0952. Again, that's 772-708-0952, or visit us at traviswalkerlaw.com. Mention the radio show, you get a free consultation. Want to make sure that you're well taken care of. And, it really, the family law, we talk about divorce and adoptions, child support issues, paternity issues, across the board. But then, we also talk about elder issues and making sure that, while we're talking about kids being taken care of, we also talk about, the elderly being taken care of. And, whether it's a guardianship and making sure that something's in place so that, guardianship is taken care of, because it's stronger than a power of attorney. The way I look at it is a power of attorney gives you the ability, the authority to do things on someone's behalf, but you can't necessarily control them, kind of like a child. And unfortunately, with Alzheimer's and dementia and those issues being a real issue in our country as our population continues to get older, guardianships are a big tool in the tool chest to make sure that people are being taken care of, and then it's oversight by the court to make sure that these people are being taken care of as well, because that's the flip side of the kids. Like, the state of Florida doesn't want to be taking care of the kids. The state of Florida also doesn't want to be taking care of the elderly. There's options and Medicaid trusts and that type of thing that our office can help with as well. So, if you or a loved one are dealing with those type of issues, happy to chat with you. 772-708-0952.
Let's say in the case of, just a thought came to my mind as
Sure.
you're talking. You have an elderly parent, and let's just say you have 3 siblings.
Okay.
Elderly parent is on life support.
Mm.
How is the decision made when you have 3 siblings? Sibling number 1 wants to not pull the plug. Sibling 2 says, yes, let's pull the plug. And sibling number 3 is undecided.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
That's tough. I mean, it's a tough situation. And
Is there a document that was like pre-signed that designates one of the 3, or do they all have to 3 make the decision together as a team?
right.
How does that work?
I mean, it's a great question. And so, when we do estate planning, obviously there's a will in place, but one of the other documents that we have in place is a living will. And so that provides explicit, direct direction to who's required or who has the authority to, pull the plug, basically.
Mhm.
And then that can be relied upon by the hospital, is like, hey, this is a signed, notarized document that allows for this to happen. So, that's the best case scenario. We do that as part of our estate planning package. It includes, designations of healthcare surrogates and powers of attorneys, and a designation of pre-need guardianships and wills and trusts. And we do all those types of documents. So that living will, which is what you're referring to, is super important to prevent that from happening. And so, you definitely want to make sure that that's in place so that you don't have that type of conflict, because again, going back to like 20 something years, that was the whole Terry Schiavo thing, is, there was a conflict between the different family members as to whether to pull the plug or not. And eventually it found itself into a court system, and an emergency petition was filed to try and, pull the plug, and
Mhm.
it went back and forth. So it's a huge issue. I mean, the courts do emergencies, and they address them as they perfectly can. But of course, an emergency is, for what we deal with, an emergency may not be an emergency to the court. So even if the brothers and sisters or siblings were going to go and petition the court to make a decision as to pull the plug on dad or
Mhm.
mom,
Mhm.
it may not happen very quickly. And from due process, there may be a hearing, there may be a whole process to it. So, that's another reason to one, who wants to like be litigating in court about whether or not to pull dad or
Right.
mom's plug.
Right.
But then there's attorney's fees and costs and everything else like that. But then there's a delay period, because you're not going to get a decision immediately.
Right.
It could be some time.
Can the doctor have a lot of say so in this matter? Can the doctor make that decision?
I think that the doctors do have a lot of authority to it, and then
Right.
it gets into a gray area, of course, as to like where they can and can't, and they have their own compliance team on board to when that happens. But if there's it's one of those situations. I mean, and I think our listeners or any of us have dealt with a situation where the police are called or something, and then it's a discussion or a dispute between where the kid's supposed to go, or like they're fighting over a fence or something like that, and the police
Right.
often say it's a civil matter. Right, they don't want to touch it or whatever. And so like the hospital in some instances, I think, especially if there's an argument or dispute between the parties, they're going to just say it's a civil matter. I can't, there's no specific direction via a living will. And if the
Right.
if the parent, the siblings are fighting over this, you guys are going to have to give me a court order or something so that so that the hospital and I as a doctor feel protection
Yeah.
to the decision I'm trying to make.
Is a DNR something very important that people should also have as part of their paperwork?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah. DNR is, and that's in the same language as that living will. And
Right.
people use the word living will and DNR interchangeably.
Mhm.
And it kind of depends where you're at. But yeah, DNRs and living wills are super important so that, if you do have specific wishes, whether they're religious or ethical or whatever, and you don't want to have your life prolonged, you need to make that explicit up front, because obviously the hospitals and doctors are there to try and provide care as to
Right.
the best of the ability and what they
Right.
think they should be doing.
So basically, a DNR is if you're in a vegetative state, or if you're being kept alive by a ventilator or whatever it is, or you're in the hospital, you're very ill, and all of a sudden you flatline.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
And for those that don't know what flatline is, that's your heartbeat stopping.
Correct.
A lot of people have no idea
Really?
what that is.
Oh
Yeah,
my
they have
gosh.
no idea.
Oh, geez.
No idea.
There's a really bad movie in the 90s called The Flatliners or
Yeah,
something.
I asked somebody I asked somebody the other day, you know what flatlining is? And they were like, no, what is it?
Really?
Yeah, they did. They had no idea.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So if you're in the hospital and you flatline
Uh-huh.
and you have a DNR,
Yeah.
the hospital
Won't resuscitate you.
will not take the paddles and try to save your life
Correct.
because of the DNR.
Because
That's
the
it.
DNR.
You're done.
Yep. Do not resuscitate. Do not put the paddles on me. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's pretty powerful stuff.
Okay.
That's and it's like, I mean, and as living human beings, we're like, oh my gosh, that's like, it all comes down to a piece of paper, whether you have that paper or not, whether they do that. And it's huge, because it's just like a power of attorney, which is an important estate planning document. The doctors or the banks or anything can really rely upon that document to provide the authority and stuff. So later on, they don't feel liability because they can say that they reasonably relied upon the power of attorney or the DNR, the did not resuscitate document, or the living will before, making the decision. So they don't get sued later on for allowing it, because obviously, if Joe Smith has, it comes in and takes care of Mama Smith's bank account and they just allow him to do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
They, that create a problem. But if he's got a power of attorney, the bank is actually required legally to, to do what it says in the power of attorney.
Mm-hmm.
They can't just turn the guy away because he's not the person. If he has a valid power of attorney, they're required to rely upon that. So
I knew somebody that their parent passed away, and they had some stocks and investments and things like that. And
yeah,
the wording that was on there is like, it was, if something happens to me or whatever, my child can have access to the account. And they went to the brokerage and tried to close the account.
Yeah.
And the brokerage wouldn't do it.
Really?
It became a whole legal thing.
Really?
Yeah.
And how did that end up working out? Do you know?
Well, finally the guy got the money. The guy got the money from his dad, but the broker, who was the agent, I guess, or whatever, just, he didn't believe that the person was dead.
Really?
He thought the kid was trying to come in and infiltrate and steal the money.
Really?
And he had a death certificate and everything.
I was going to ask.
Yeah, he thought it was like a fake death certificate. Oh yeah, it was bad.
That is bad.
And this is true stuff.
Wow. I mean,
this is about probably 15 years ago. It just came to my mind.
But no, that's crazy. Because I mean, like, the whole point on having like and we help guide people through this through our estate planning is like, if you have a payable upon death or you have a beneficiary for something, all you need to do is be able to submit that death certificate and get paid out the account or whatever. But this wasn't happening.
No, it wasn't happening. And I guess with nowadays with technology, I mean, you could print up a death certificate on a color printer in a heartbeat, and it looks 100% real.
Pretty bona fide, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah, I get it.
I mean, I did. I just out of curiosity, you know, the other day I was sitting home. I'm like, I wonder if. So I took my birth certificate and I color scanned it,
Really?
right, and then stuck it in
Oh,
Photoshop
really?
and did some alterations to it, and then
Yeah.
printed it in color again.
Huh?
And I'll be damned.
It's good, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was mind blowing
Wow.
what somebody can do. No, folks, don't do
No,
this.
no,
But
Evan
it's
isn't saying to
just
do this.
no,
No,
but it's
but like,
mind blowing
it-
the things that can be done.
wow. And no, and if you, unless you're like kind of like actively like looking at the document, thinking, is this a fraud, or
Yeah.
you're just gonna be like, okay, this is
Yeah, I
this is
mean,
good to go.
you know, and all people do, I guess, nowadays when you have a document, they just take a look at it. They don't check it for authenticity,
Nope.
which I highly recommend you do. I'm not an attorney, but
Yeah,
I would highly recommend you check for authenticity,
for sure.
especially if you're, you know, if you have somebody that passes away and you're the representative or whatever the terminology is,
Yes, yes.
to make sure it's all real.
It's crazy. Yeah, we call them personal representatives
Yeah.
here, but or executors up north or whatever. But yeah, I mean, can you? But like, as the broker, I'm just trying to like put myself in the broker's shoes.
Yeah.
It's like, here, why, one, why would I be disputing it? But then what am I going to do?
Yeah.
I'm going to call up, like, I think this guy's still alive.
He was
called the dead dude.
He was protecting the guy's assets.
Did he try?
is what
Did he
was
try and
doing.
call the dead person? I
Yeah,
mean,
he did.
oh my gosh!
Nobody answered the phone, obviously. He did. This is a true story.
That's
I'm
insane.
telling you, this is a true story.
That is insane. Though.
Yes, it's a true. He tried calling the dead person,
Oh my gosh!
thinking that the dead person was still alive.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
how awkward is that going to be? Like,
Well, it probably took like about a month or so, and finally there was the obituary in the paper, and the funeral home got involved, and
oh my gosh.
just all sorts of other stuff, and the guy finally got his money.
It's like, do you want an affidavit from the funeral home
I
saying
know.
that I saw the guy? I can
Yeah.
swear that he's dead.
Yeah,
Can you
I
please
mean,
do
get
it?
a shovel and dig up, and you'll find
my
out he's
gosh.
down there.
I was like thinking, well, like if he was cremated, then it's like,
Yeah.
okay, but like,
Yeah, bring the box in.
bring the box in.
Bring the urn in.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Boom, here it is, right?
Yeah.
Like tell me that he's
Yeah.
not dead or something.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
People can be like, and that's why you get all your affairs in order and everything else like
Yeah.
that, is because you want to make sure that you're preventing stuff from like that from happening. But even then, people get into disputes with banks and brokers and everything else, and
Yeah.
handle that under the sun. A lot of banks are screwing up people's escrow accounts and stuff like that, and
Mhm.
having helped them out with that. A lot of with real estate, boyfriend and girlfriends are, buying properties together because they don't believe in marriage as much these days.
Yeah.
And so like, then they break up, and then all of a sudden, they're stuck with the house together, and they're
Yeah.
trying to decide what to do with that.
And speaking of which, too, like when you have two people that buy a home,
Mm-hmm.
let's say, and they're not married,
Yes.
and the deed's in both their names,
Yeah.
and then they get married.
Right.
Now they need to get the deed changed, don't they?
So they should. Well,
Okay.
and so like, so there's different, we call them, there's three different main ways of owning a deed. One's
Okay.
tenancy in common, one's joint tenancy with right of survivorship, and one is tenancy by the entireties. And so tenancy in common is just your regular ownership. Joint tenants with right of survivorship is like, is so if you own a property together, then the other person automatically gets it.
Mhm.
And tenancy by the entireties is basically with a marriage. So if you own a property, but the thing with tenancy by the entireties is that you both have to take the property at the same time. So
Mhm.
like, if I own a property and then later on I want to add my wife to it, or if someone owns a piece of property, they want to add their wife to it, there has to be like unity of title at the time that they got the property. So you can't necessarily deed that to the wife and then she gets the same type of protection.
Is it very hard for a couple after they got married to go down to the clerk's office or whoever? Is it very hard to get a deed redone into the new married name?
It's not hard to do, but like, what I don't think, and we do a number of deeds at the office. So like, we do simple deeds. Actually, we work with a lot of title agents, because they can't draft deeds because it's legal work, but we get, they refer us the work.
Right.
But basically, like, the challenge with deeds is that if you don't do it exactly right,
Mhm.
you will screw it up, and that will cause a title issue later on. So that if you try and sell the property, it's going to be a huge snafu. And then especially if somebody's passed away who deeded you the property, gosh, like you're gonna have to open a probate and go through this whole process.
Right.
So like deeds are super important to be done right, because like even like a comma, if a comma is off in a legal description, that's the survey's meets and bounds. That's the lot and block description in the deed. If that's off, that whole deed could be screwed up.
Wow.
Yeah.
One comma. One little comma.
Yeah.
A typo.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, one little it's so like if the listeners or someone thinks about their deed, or they have one handy or whatever, they can look and says, lot 33, block 22 of the of Stewart, the city of Stewart, or something like that. And then if in that, like, someone fails to put one of the commas that's in there, then that can, because what those are like the descriptions of the property. So if there isn't, like, it's the difference between turning versus not turning when, like, measuring the lot. So it's a big issue, and that's why it's super important. And unfortunately, we've had to fix a number of deeds because
Wow.
people will try to print off a deed, and it's one of the options I give them is like, hey, if you need a deed done, you can try and do it yourself and everything. Of course, there's forms online that people try and do, but that's not going to get you to that's not necessarily going to get you what you want, because if you don't handle that legal description, if you don't handle the wording properly, you could completely screw this thing up.
Is there a big issue with people trying to steal people's titles, deeds, and whatnot? Is there a big, is that something that's going on a lot?
Yeah, there is. So like, and it's funny because we do tax deed work, and so if you own a piece of property and you fail to pay your taxes, first it's sold to a tax certificate. So like someone bids on the tax certificate and they get paid interest for the taxes. Eventually, that property gets sold at a tax deed sale. And what we have is people who will say, like, they're the previous owner or a mortgage company or something like that, and then they come and try and take the leftover money from the tax deed sale. So there's definitely fraudulent deeds out there. I mean, I get calls regularly about fraudulent deeds. So, especially when it comes to family, it's the sad thing is, they'll try, especially know someone's passed away or they get dementia or something, they'll try and forge mom or dad's, and then try to take the property before the rest of the siblings can get it. So I've seen that a number of times.
I signed up for a service that St. Lucie County offers.
Yes. The official records check.
Yeah. I signed up for that, to where if there's any manipulation on my deed or whatever, if anybody tries to do anything, it notifies me immediately.
Yeah.
And I highly suggest people do that.
It's a free service.
It's free.
Yeah. And you're gonna get, and I got the same thing. I'm signed up for it too, because God forbid a real estate attorney doesn't have a tool like that, especially if it's free. But yeah, so and the other thing is that it'll also tell you if someone records something against your property. So if someone wants to put a lien on your property,
because anybody could put a lien on anybody nowadays.
They can.
I could put a lien against you for whatever reason.
You definitely,
which is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. But then, and so we call that slander of title. So that if you put something on somebody's title that you're not supposed to, it's a tort. It's a lawsuit that you can file against somebody. For slander of title. But yeah, I mean, that's a good way to make sure you prevent it. But the funny thing is because I'm Travis Walker, it's not the most uncommon name in the world. I think there's a couple other Travis Walkers hanging out in St. Lucie County, and some of them have some issues. And so, like, an email will pop up. I'm like, what the heck happened? Why did somebody why did somebody record a child support judgment against me? Oh, wait, I don't have, it's not me.
Right, exactly.
So, but like, any of those type of things, judgments or liens or mortgages, everybody should, check out, their local clerk of court, especially in St. Lucie County, because we know they have that service. It's a great way to be on top of your title, to make sure that nothing's being recorded against it, because when you go to sell that property and you want to sell it within 30 days because you want to move on and you got another house you're contingent upon and everything, you don't want to have title issues.
Who are the biggest ones to put liens on people's homes? I guess contractors, right? Those are probably the most common ones.
Yep. So they'll put like a notice of commencement on your property, and then they'll fail to close it out or something. Those types of things. But then, like, random people who are pissed at you, you never know. And we're like, you have an ex-wife or ex-husband or something like that who's completely malicious, they could do it. I've also seen where,
do they have to give a reason why they want to put a lien?
They're supposed to.
Okay.
And it's supposed to affect the property, right?
Okay.
So like, you can't lien somebody's. So if I hit you in a car accident and then, like, you sue me, or like, we're trying to work it out and everything, but then you find out that I'm trying to sell my house or something, and then you go and lien the property, like, just without reason or whatever, that would be a slander of title. You can't do that.
So can you put a lien on somebody's business? Can you do that, or it has to be just a private home?
You could do that as well. Obviously, it's a little different. It's called a UCC. It's a Uniform Commercial Code lien.
Okay.
So that's on the business. But I mean, if you have a real estate business, then obviously that's a little bit different. But if like someone owns and leases leases their business and everything, they don't have real estate that they own. The way that you lien the business is through a UCC. And again, it's got the same rules. Like you can't just go out and arbitrarily lien somebody's property, or whether it's their business or home or whatever, and think you're going to get away with it. It's going to create a whole bunch of issues. And again, that's where lawsuits come into play. And but there's some random people out there that will do some random things, which is really sad.
That's nasty.
It's nasty.
Yeah,
that's why that's a great. But that's that clerk of court tool that you talked about. It's a great way.
Yeah, it is. When I got the email years ago, I'm like, sign me up.
Yeah,
done. Because you know what, I work too hard for my home. I don't want somebody, some schlep to come in and just take my title.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden your house is on the market for sale, and you have people knocking on your door like, huh? What are you talking about?
Yeah, there's some Nigerian prince that has your is trying to sell your property from Timbuktu or something like that. But yeah, I mean, and like I think a lot of people are dealing with that on Craigslist and stuff too. Is like their houses will appear on Craigslist for lease, and then someone will pop up and say, "Hey, I'm the landlord," and then they have the people sign the lease, and then they take a deposit and first last security,
and they've even moved in some cases,
and they've moved in,
and then they find out,
nope,
not happening. And then they got to move out 2 months later,
which is that is devastating.
Yeah.
And that's, and that's why I like real estate law, especially helping people with their homes and stuff, because it's like, if there's like a place of security and safety that you ever want in your life, it's your home, protecting, what's important to them and everything else, it's a huge thing. So yeah, I totally get it. And slander of title, those are big issues. So if someone has an issue, or quiet title, which is kind of, making sure that there aren't any issues on the property, their quiet title actions to do so. Partition properties, if you have to sell a property with involving somebody else and they won't agree to sell it, or you want to sell it and they won't, or vice versa, we can definitely help you out with that. So, I am Travis Walker with the law offices of Travis or Walker. Definitely give us a call if you have any questions. Happy to do so. 772-708-0952. Again, that's 772-708-0952. Visit us at traviswalkerlaw.com, or email me, traviswalker@traviswalkerlaw.com. Happy to talk with you and see what kind of legal options or questions you have. If you mention this radio show, you get a free consultation, $185 value. Make sure that you feel like you're getting some understanding. If nothing else, when I do consultations, I think a lot of people come away with them with at least some level of certainty and some comfort that, the world's not going to come to an end. There's other people who've gone through it, and we're happy to help them out.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world. I mean, if you're getting divorced, you're getting divorced. I thought it was the end of the world when I got divorced my first time, and then, here I am.
Here you are.
I'm still living.
You're kicking it. You're doing a great job.
Still kicking.
Yeah.
Still doing it.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for listening on Legal Off the Cuff. Please join us next Thursday at 9 a.m. Happy to chat, and you'll have a great day.